What's up, everybody? It's your favorite It Finally Happened favorite nerd. And today we are looking at the Siege Optimus Prime. This was sent to me by Peanut, Tyler F., good friend of mine. A lot of people have asked me to look at this line. And my general feelings about it was I can't put any money into stuff that I'm not interested in. So I would say, look, you're welcome to send it to me, but if you do send it to me, I need you to pay for me to send it back to you. Because I know that sounds petty, but spending money on shipping expenses when you're getting to look at a lot of things, I mean, it ends up being almost like 60, 80 bucks a month, which I don't mind doing if it's something that I want to look at as well for the experience, but like, I don't really want to look at this. I'm kind of just willing to. And that kind of discouraged a lot of people from sending me their Siege stuff, which I understand and I don't feel any kind of way about. Like, I get it. I wouldn't if I were you. But Peanut, he was willing to do it. So he sent me this and he sent me Megatron. And then there's actually another guy that offered to send a few more things. And depending on how people take to my opinion on this stuff, we'll sort of decide whether or not I continue looking at any of it. That being said, let's look at accessories. He comes with his kind of signature gun, right? This is very hollow. This is the kind of stuff I wish they would get away from. Fortunately, there's not a whole lot of that on the figure, but it would have been even nicer had this not had it. This is a much better accessory, but I don't feel like it's as needed. I wish they would have just taken this and got it out of the picture and used the money that took to invest into filling this to make it look nice. It's a nitpick, and I understand that, but it is also a sincere criticism. And he holds that just fine with a 5mm peg. And the gun can tab in at the top. Then you have his axe, which is quite nice. This bit here folds up. Well, let's talk about it first before we show how it works. Silver paint, which looks good and is kind of unexpected, honestly. It's like silver metallic paint and it looks good. And then the black Autobot face might be painted on as well. So this folds in, this folds up, and then this collapses. And now this can be, it's one of those kind of suggestive things, but it could be a little gun, it could be a shield, etc., etc. There's a number of 5mm ports throughout, so you could have it on his arm, you could have it this way, you could have it on the smokestack, you could have it on the leg, whatever your little heart kind of desired, a little bonus kickstand there. And of course he holds it just fine. And you can make a super ultra mega gun by tabbing it into the top of his gun, which looks absurd to me, but it's a thing that you can do. And this silly thing can tab in the back. And let's talk about the figure. So right away, I will say this feels better than what I have seen from them in the past. Like, it feels more solid. It feels like a stronger piece. Straight away. The head. We have silver paint on the faceplate, blue paint on the eyes, silver paint inside the crest, and it is a nice sculpt. No issues there. It's on a ball peg. You get down to there, up to there, side to side. Little bit of confused dog look, maybe. We have the whole chest piece. We have white paint here that looks good. We have, I think, silver paint, which looks nice. We have the yellow paint. So that's 3 paint apps on the chest. Yellow paint also on the crotch. Waist swivel. Now, I will say you have this open cavity here. It's not really the same thing, right, that we come to expect in terms of Matrix and all that kind of stuff. But there is a gimmick to that, right? And then you have the translucent plastic. So we have a lot of deco. Now we have this weathering. The weathering is throughout. And I'll be honest, it's one of those things where it's sort of an E for effort. It's just too heavy-handed. Weathering is a tricky beast because a little dab will do you. Like this, it starts to look messy as opposed to purposeful. Like, I don't know how else to describe it, but it's too much. It's too much and it's heavy-handed. And of course that's subjective, but less is more. And especially when you talk about, like, you have this all on the front plates, but like nothing on the sides and stuff. So like with this much of it, like, how did he only get scratches just here? You know what I mean? And I know that sounds nitpicky. I know that sounds like I'm just complaining for the sake of complaining, but it does throw the look off for me. I think it might look better without, because it presents fairly well. All right, waist swivel we talked about. Shoulders. This piece will come up and get out of the way so that you can get 90 degrees out, which is nice. Has a reverse butterfly, which is nice. Has the swivel around, which is nice. And all of that operates on a hinge or a swivel here, a hinge inside the chest, and then a separate hinge at this shoulder. We have a bicep swivel. We have an elbow that gets you a little bit past 90 degrees on a single hinge. We have some unsightly kibble here. Wrist swivel, Hands are kind of stuck in that peg position, which I'm not a fan of, but I guess I get it. Same for the other side. The smokestacks are painted silver. Hips, universals, which is nice. So you get full Van Damme, you get pretty much the full Monty. You get the backpack out of the way. I think we should give him it. I mean, it's close enough, I feel like. Thigh swivel, minor, but it's there. It's built around the universal. And if that's not enough, you have an additional swivel here at the knee. But I think that actually will probably be enough. Knee itself is on a single hinge that gets you the full run. So that's nice. And then we have different plastics down here for the vents, which is fine. And then silver paint inside the toes, which is a nice touch and an added detail that we may not necessarily expect. No toe tilt, no ankle tilt. You do get a toe tilt down, which is kind of useless, and nothing up, which would actually help, but you do get ankle rockers, which is nice. So I have had no problem really posing this guy. There he is from the back. This backpack I'm not crazy about. We'll kind of get to that in final thoughts. That's a design choice. It's, it's either you're in or you're out, I guess, but that's him in a nutshell. Size comparison wise, there he is with the Combiner Wars Voyager and Deluxe. So this is a point of contention, right? People are saying that they're smaller, etc., etc. And I agree. Obviously, they are a bit smaller. They're not crazy small, but they are a bit smaller. But you know what? I think proportionately, they're better. Look at where Optimus' hands end. Look at where Silverbolt's hands end in relationship to the rest of their torsos and such. I think this is a better looking figure. I really do. Even though this is larger, this feels better built and it feels more appropriate. That would probably be the word that I chose. It feels more appropriate. Now there it is with MMC's Megatron, and obviously this doesn't really work I feel like this line is not really compatible with the general landscape of third-party Chug lines. Maybe with a few exceptions, some of the Legend stuff and such, but for the most part, I think you're gonna find it extremely challenging. All right, let's get him transformed. Fold the arms up at 90 degrees per the instructions. Rotate the legs around at the knee. Open this panel up here. Flip the gray piece around to the opposite side. We'll do that on both sides. Then take this inner piece, flip it around so it's on the outside. On the back of the figure, take the kneecaps and you want to flip them up on both sides. This one's a little easier to get to. It's a little bit of a hard connection though. And take this piece up, flip it around to the opposite side, and then at the waist, you want to bend all of this so that it kind of sits, and I guess you can probably peg this together now. And then fold the feet together at the back of the truck. All right, now we're gonna make this guy explode, so to speak, and then come back together. So fold these pieces out here. You can get these tires out, which come down, just leave them out of the way for now, I think. And open up this chest cavity, fold his head in, and open up this piece, these two pieces, and all of this, which is the front bumper of the truck. Now we have to put the shoulder in position, back, fold the arm in, and bring this panel up to cover down on that space, and do the same for the other side. Arm in, very G1 toy-esque, and then fold this up, cover down on that space. Then make sure you have the windows open here. Bring this down, this around the sides, that'll tab in. Close up your front windows, close these up, and that'll tab in, and then you can put the tires in location as well. And then close up your side flaps on both sides. I'll get them cleaned up, we'll take a look at them. So here it is, it rolls, I'm not crazy about how this looks. I get that it's like a Cybertronian kind of design. I don't feel like it's far enough removed from the G1 design if they're gonna go this route. And then there it is next to Tiger Tracks. I feel like maybe they should have been a little bit more imaginative, because it's so close to the G1 that like this bothers me, this top piece, where I feel like if they didn't go this close to G1, it probably wouldn't bother me. Of course, that's subjective. As a truck, I mean, it's truck-ish thing, it works fine. But I don't know, because it's so close, it seems wrong. Does that make sense? Whereas if it seemed further away, it would be more forgiving. But it ultimately does its job just fine. Let's talk about the negatives. My main negatives are that it is suffering from two issues in my opinion. One, it's trying to not be G1 and at the same time is sitting mighty close to G1 to seem any different from G1, which then makes aesthetic cues seem bizarre because it's so close to what we would think would be G1. That might be a personal hang-up of mine. It may not bother anyone else, but if it doesn't bother you, you're welcome to tell anyone about it. The other main criticism I have is the weathering. I feel like it's too much and inconsistent. I understand what they were trying to do. I commend them for trying to do it. I just think that it's not well done, and maybe it'll get better. That's definitely a possibility that it could get better. But until it does, it looks messy as opposed to looking cool, which is, I'm sure, their intention. It looks accidental. It doesn't look purposeful. But in the great scheme of things, those are kind of nitpicky. This is better than what I've come to expect. I think it's more than passable, which I kind of felt like Titans Returns or Power of the Primes or Powder Primes. I kind of felt like that was passable and forgivable. This actually seems closer to what I would expect from this company, being a fan of their other line, their Marvel and Black Series stuff. This seems like what this company should be producing after looking at those figures. It seems more solid. It seems more full. It seems like it's better sculpted. There's more attention to detail and paint. I think this is a huge improvement for them. Not enough to make me interested in the line. I just don't have any interest really in the scale. But I think this is probably the best Transformer figure I've looked at since the Generation Springer era, and that's saying something. However, I still don't think it's as good as that. But definitely a recommend for me if you're interested in the line, thinking about checking them out, any sorts of those things. I think you'll be as pleasantly surprised as I am. Nothing to blow you away, but something to be taken a bit more seriously than what they've been producing in this franchise recently. So good to see it. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.